Welcome to UNAM Chicago's CAFÉ EXPRESSO, a space for bilateral conversations with people from all walks of life. Tune in to Spanish Public Radio and follow us on social media. And now your host, Alberto Foncerrada.
Welcome everyone to another edition of Café Expresso. My name is Alberto Foncerrada and I am your host. Today is a very special day. I'm having coffee this morning with a good friend of mine who I hadn't seen in ages. My guest is Xochitl Blanco-Cano. Welcome, Xochitl. How are you?
Oh, I am fine, Alberto. Thanks a lot for the invitation. I am very happy to be here.
Absolutely. Xochitl Blanco, she works at the Institute from Geophysics. Do we translate geophysics?
Yeah, geophysics,
okay.
Institute of Geophysics.
From geophysics at UNAM. Her research areas are space physics, solar wind physics, upstream phenomena at Earth, interplanetary shocks at Mercury, Saturn and Jupiter, magnetospheres, and well, I can go on and on and on, but just to as an introduction, Xochitl and I go a long way. We were friends in elementary school. That's a while ago, and then the stars collided, and we saw each other again in the United Kingdom, where I was doing my master's. I think you were doing your PhD, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Queen Mary and Westfield College, and we see each other again. The other day, I was watching these space travels from all these billionaires here in the U.S., and I thought, oh my God, I gotta call my friend Xochitl. But again, Xochitl, welcome to my program. And well, let's talk about first. I know that you originally wanted to become an astronomer. But then life took you a different path. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your path?
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, my original idea when I was a young person, well, I am still sort of young, but not that much anymore, was to go into astronomy, meaning like studying galaxies and faraway universe. But it was really by chance that when I decided to do my social service, I studied in the Faculty of Sciences at UNAM. And when I chose where to go and do my social service, which is some work that the students have to do in Mexico at the BSc level, I arrived to work at a group in the Institute of Geophysics that is called Space Physics. So basically, this is related to astrophysics. I mean, we study the nearby universe. So in a way, we call ourselves a space physicist, but by the end of the day, my PhD was in astrophysics. So I didn't really deviate so much. It was just that I decided to study the nearby space to Earth, which is called the heliosphere, and well, it is better known as the solar system. But basically, I still only study a phenomena that occur outside of our planet.
Yes, I know that we recently celebrated the Day of the Sun. That was June 21st, if I'm not mistaken. And you became fixated also on the study of solar wind. What is solar wind? Not many people know about solar wind. I didn't know much about it until I read some of the papers that you've written.
Okay, well, The solar wind is an emission of particles, a flow of particles that propagate from the sun into interplanetary medium constantly. All the time, the sun is emitting these particles. And it is a very important flow to study because it's the only plasma. I will explain now what is a plasma that we can study in situ, that we can put a spacecraft to get data from the wind. So basically, as you said, all of us know that the sun is a star, and the outer layer of the sun is very hot. That layer is called corona, and it is so hot that the gravity of the sun cannot contain this hot material, and this material escapes into the interplanetary medium. Now, the plasmas are gases that are so hot that they are ionized. So basically, this means that the atoms have been broken. So basically, you just have electrons and ions. And that gives the material very peculiar characteristics because they do not behave like normal gases, but due to this electrical charge, they interact with the magnetic fields, and a new phenomena in terms of physical phenomena appear due to this plasma state.
Wow. Is there like the chance that these winds would reach Earth? Or,
Sure.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, our planet all the time is being blown by this solar wind, all the planets. As I said earlier, there is the heliosphere, which basically is the domain of the sun. And this heliosphere is defined by all the space that is filled with solar wind. And this has a size that goes beyond the orbit of Pluto. And all the planets receive the solar wind impact. Unfortunately, our planet has a magnetic field, and that protects us. This is like a core, like now the word is escaping my, what is a shield? It is a shield. The magnetic field is a shield that protects us from the solar wind direct impact. But one of the subjects that I study as one of my main subject is the interaction of the solar wind with Earth's magnetic field.
That is just fascinating. How do you gather all this data? Who does this data? Who do you work with physically? Are you in a lab or?
Well, I collaborate with various groups around the world. These space physics studies are very international. Being in Mexico, Mexico does not have a spacecraft in orbit, which gather data that I need. But fortunately, these days, due to all these internet advances and these international communications, we have the chance to collaborate with various groups along different countries. I also collaborate with people in my institute. And the data are gathered by space missions. These are a spacecraft of different various sizes that go out of Earth. Basically, there are several agencies like NASA or ESA, which is the European Space Agency, which also collaborate between them. And the scientists in Earth, what we do, I am not in a lab answering one of your questions. I basically work in front of a computer, and from my computer, I can download this data. And the data basically are measurements of magnetic field. They can be also measurements of density, velocity of this wind. And with this, what we do is we analyze the data and we interpret them with models. And for example, part of my work is comparing the data with models that we have also run in supercomputers, and we mimic the solar wind in our computers doing numerical simulations.
Wow, that is incredible. For those of you who just logged in, I'm having a conversation. I'm having coffee with a good friend of mine, Xochitl Blanco-Cano. She is a PhD from the Institute of Geophysics at UNAM. And yes, this is an incredibly exciting period we're living. I know that you also are working and collaborating on the International Space Science Institute. And we're going to show a little clip of, let me show this little video clip.
Space isn't completely empty. There's a solar wind blowing at millions of kilometers an hour. Most of these particles get deflected around the planets by a shockwave, but some particles get energized and reflected back into space, resulting in strange sound waves and explosive structures. We think this happens at all the planets, but they're very different environments. So our ISI team is working out what they all have in common and what they don't.
So tell us a little bit about this institute. In what capacity do you collaborate with them? What is the purpose of this?
Well, basically, nowadays I am part of a team. This ISI is how we call this institute among friends, is an institute in Bern that supports, financiates teams, international teams who propose specific topics. And I am very lucky that I belong these days to a team that is studying foreshocks. These are the regions near planets where the solar wind interacts with the magnetic fields. And basically what we do is we are funded, various of us, to go and visit ISI, and there we gather for a week and try to solve a problem or various specific problems. These days, we are having various telecons regularly because of traveling restrictions. And it's a very friendly environment. Basically, one thing that happens these days among scientists is that one group cannot do everything. So you have to
rely on everybody,
collaborate with people and share your expertise so that you put all the jigsaw together. So this institute allows the opportunity that several people of various countries collaborate. And I am working full-time at UNAM, but sometimes, as I said, I visit other institutes 1 week or 2 weeks. I could even go on a sabbatical. I hope I can go soon.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Are you working, do you have any plans ahead? Is there any projects that you're working on or currently?
Well, one of the things that I work now is perturbations that occur in the solar wind. And these occur because there are streams with different velocities in the solar wind. So one of the things that I want to do as soon as I gather the data is use data from a mission that is called Parker Solar Probe. This is a very important mission nowadays that is very close to the sun. And I want to study these perturbations. These perturbations are called shocks. And I have studied them near Earth, but I want to do this close to the sun, so as to try to put together an image of how these shocks evolve. So that is one of my current projects. And also I hope I get some new students, because nowadays I don't have PhD students. So something that also is very nice about this career is that you collaborate with people of different generations, specifically PhD students.
Absolutely. Well, that's wonderful. I commend you for that work. Well, I had to ask these questions. What is your take on all these missions that we're seeing? I mean, is this kind of like the rich man's kind of like thing that they want to do, like travel? Is this actually travel space, or is this or all these missions that we see from lately, these spacecraft, are they doing something that's going to be useful for the future, for humanity? What is your take on all this, or are these just like rich people doing their thing and trying to profit from this?
You mean rich people that can travel to space?
Yes.
Oh, well, I think that at present, most of the spacecrafts are with no humans. Of course, there are these touristic travels for rich people. I think that by the end of the day, there are some plans, for example, to send some humans to Mars. And of course, there is the International Station that is very important, and that is with humans doing different experiments out of Earth. So all the developments that occur towards these missions, the ones that are just with robots, I mean, that are not tripulated, or the ones with human, are very important because they develop new technologies. For example, when the astronauts' suits were made for the first time, they allowed to develop a lot of the new clothing that we use these days, even to live in a very cold weather. And also there are experiments that people do in the International Space Station. I think that the touristic rich guys that can go into space, well, it's fun for them. But I think that the important missions that have humans are more like the one that is planned for Mars. Of course, they are very ambitious because the guys that also are going to go will never return. So there is lots of development when these missions leave Earth.
Oh, absolutely. I remember how exciting it was. I remember I was present when the President de la Madrid had a call with our Rodolfo Neri Vela, right? And they were discussing these things with lentils that we sent to space and how they would grow up and in space. That's fascinating. Xochitl, is there anything you want to add before we end the program? Is there a message that you want to send?
Yeah, sure. Well, now that I have the opportunity, I would like to encourage young people to choose science careers. Sometimes when you are in high school or in elementary school, people think that studying science is very difficult. And of course, it's difficult. I am not saying that it's easy, but it's fun. So one of the things I would like to say to young people is go for it. If you are tempted, go for it. And also, I have my webpage in the Institute. If you log into the Instituto de Geofísica, there is my email. And if anybody is interested in knowing more about the subject, I am quite happy to answer questions. And well, thanks again for the invitation.
Absolutely. We're going to put your website and everything here in the program. And again, thank you, Xochitl. It was such a treat to see you again. I see your passion on this thing. It's absolutely wonderful. And I just want you to know that here in Chicago, we can work with you in any capacity that you might think it's interesting. And thank you so much for accepting my invitation.
On the contrary, a pleasure.
Okay, everybody.
See you soon.
Absolutely, you will.
Here in Mexico.
Hopefully, yes. Hopefully, we can fly soon. And everybody, thank you so much. My name is Alberto Foncerrada. I am your host at Café Expresso, and this has been another edition. Until next time.